morning, champions. Welcome to the Champions of Tabletop podcast. I am your host, Matt. Joined with me, as always, my fellow brethren within the Champions of Tabletop. We've got Dion. We've got Shay.
Final girl.
But I'll tell you what. Today is a special day. Today, we have a star with us. You may recognize...
I'm here every day.
A real one.
Oh, yeah,
a real one.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because if you notice, our screen looks way more attractive today than it normally does. We today are blessed. You may recognize her from Foster the Meeples. You may also recognize her as one of the most important parts of the Van Ryder team, the marketing director of Van Ryder. We've got Jamie. Jamie!
Yay, Jamie!
Hi!
It is such a pleasure to have you, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Champions of Tabletop. It is an absolute pleasure. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I am happy that I have a twin on the show and that we're going to say final girl as many times as we can. It's amazing. I love
Final
it.
girl.
She's like, my check is partly attached to this.
Final girl. I get you.
Well, Jamie, again, we cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here because I know we've got PAX coming up this week. So that's something I'm sure you and Jeff are going to be packing for. But for those of our viewers who are not familiar with Jamie of Van Ryder Games and, of course, Foster the Meeples, Jamie, we wanted to get to know you a little bit. So our first segment today, we're going to switch our show up. We're malleable. That's another one of those college words I learned.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
Next level.
Impressed.
I'm super impressed right now.
A lot of money for those words. So with that said, Jamie, we're going to get to know you a little bit better. And so the first thing we wanted to learn was, how long have you been a part of the board gaming scene? Like, what got you into being a serious board gamer?
Yeah, so I started playing board games in 2016. I believe it was a Tuesday. Cold Tuesday. It might have been snowing. I am in Canada.
Let's say where you live.
Yeah. So I got into the hobby through my brother. He has been in we've played board games as a family my entire life, but he introduced us to this little light game called A Game of Thrones, the board game. I don't know if you guys have played it, but that was my introduction. Yeah, that was my introduction into the hobby. And when we started playing that game, we played it like it was an every weekend lifestyle game for us. And we would put Game of Thrones theme music on in the background for like 5 hours straight, because that's how long that game takes to play sometimes. And then after that, we're like, okay, well, what else? What else is there? And then he showed us Clank, and then he showed us, Pandemic. And then we got to see a bunch of other things, and it just exploded from there because Jeff and I have no chill when it comes to hobbies. So we immediately got in and bought everything that we could possibly find. And we haven't looked back since. So yeah, we have a collection now we're approaching 1,000 games in our personal collection.
Wow.
Nice.
So we love games. We play at least 60 plus different games every month. That's not including plays. So like if I'm not working or doing the channel, I am playing games. So there's no point in asking me what I did this weekend because you already know the answer.
So it's safe to say, Dion, you actually have a run for your money.
I do. Yes. This is nice.
Are you intimidated?
No, this is amazing. I want to see your collection now because I'm obviously a big collector as well now too. So we have 2,200 board games in the building with 1,400 on this side, and it's still not enough. I'm not happy until I hit that like 2,900. Even then I said, oh, no, 2,000's a good number. And now I'm like, nah, probably 3. But when's enough's enough? The problem I have, I don't know if you have the same problem, but my biggest problem is I'll come in to play something and then I have such a big selection. You really don't know what you want, something new, which is horrible because you have 1,400 games that are being not played. When someone's like, oh, I like this, and you're trying to connect the dots. I think it's amazing that your brother threw you literally to the wolves right away.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
So
100%. And I feel that big time, like walking into we have one dedicated board game library. We're turning a second room upstairs. We're getting built-ins put in and a ladder, like a sliding ladder so that we can like Beauty and the Beast ourselves around our board games. Yeah, I love it. I love being surrounded by them.
See, that's the dream. Me and my wife already talked about this because she loves more books, but she also likes board games. So we're going to have a library just like that. Half of it will be books. The other half is going to be all gaming, board gaming. It's going to be amazing. So you're living my dream and I appreciate it.
So Jamie, obviously sitting down at a table for 5 hours is quite a task. So what was it about board gaming that really appealed to you and Jeff? Like, what was it in that engagement? Was the camaraderie with your family, with his brother, or what really hooked you on it?
Yeah, I think it's something that you just can do together that you're just all in. You're all in on. And especially a game like the Game of Thrones board game, because like you have to pay attention in that game. Otherwise, you're like dead and you lose your land and all of these horrible things happen. You die to the dire wolves and all that good stuff. So I just liked that we were just at the table doing this fun thing that you're fully immersed into, and the TV's not on and your phones aren't there. And honestly, like our big hobby before board gaming was reading, and we're still big readers. But like when you read, Jeff and I would be reading at the same time, but in separate rooms. Like gaming is just something that we do together. And I like that. And I like that you can do it with literally anyone. Like we've played board games with everyone from like my nieces when they were young to Jeff's parents who like don't even own a computer or have the internet. So like,
wow,
like there's a wide range of people that you can play with. And I think there's something really special about that.
Well, and obviously board games brings a lot of reading in because we know some of these instruction manuals are absolutely ridiculous. So,
yep. True.
I tell Dion, there's a certain games. We got our games like different valued. And there's the green games that you can learn for like one sheet. And then there's the yellow games that, takes a little bit more time. And then there's the red games that you got to get a degree in to actually learn it. And then the book report, the final is playing the game. And no.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite games are like Lacerda games, which are pretty heavy. And those are some of my favorites. I love Eagle Griffin games. So they're really awesome. But
yeah, we love GMT games.
Those are another one. Yeah.
Yeah, like we play Cuba Libre, which is from the coin series of games, and that has like a manual on how to read the rule book and all of these things, and and so like there's such different intensities between like the types of games that you can play, but I like a nice meaty game. Just feel like you just gotta read it for days. I love it.
So, what is your favorite mechanic?
My favorite mechanic is racing. Because I'm very, very fast.
Jamie. Jamie, you walked into it here.
Are we twinning again? Are we twinning again?
Sure. Have you played a game called Heat?
Heat, pedal to the metal? Heck yeah, I have. Are you kidding?
Shay and I just had a big heat off our last episode. I got to wear the belt as the champion.
He beat me literally by by like 2 points.
It doesn't matter how far you win, Shay. It's about the
W.
A
win.
No,
it was a W.
It's not about you.
One of us was in the winner circle.
It's
The
about
other
us.
was taking pictures.
Yes,
That's
I know
amazing.
You were taking pictures. That's amazing.
There was another one that someone just brought in. I think it was automobiles. Have you tried that one? That was kind of a neat little
I've only played that one on BGA, and my problem is I'll play new games on BGA without trying to learn them, and I'll just click around. So have I played it? Technically, yes, but also technically no.
Gotcha.
But I love Heat. I love Downforce. I love Thunder Road Vendetta. I like Snow Trails or Snow Tales and Wacky Racers, which is like a Hanna-Barbera racing game. Super fun. Yeah, I love racing.
I just see Shay over here. It's like
he's definitely
taking everything
the same. Yes,
it is. Because I agree with you. I really want to play Wacky Racers. Like I remember watching that as a kid, and I want the game was over there. And I've been staring at it, and I actually got I might. Anyway, that's me.
Okay, so with that, Jamie, so you get into board games, you're playing, you love the camaraderie, you love the experience of it. So the next logical step is, of course, make a YouTube channel.
Of course. Why not? I mean, I think the thing is that because we had the other channel for so long, I was very familiar with YouTube, and we had kind of stopped the book channel for a while because we were busy and we weren't reading as much. And Jeff didn't really want to do it anymore. So like the best part about YouTube for us is that it's something that we do together. And we were playing a ton of games and it was COVID times. We all remember, unfortunately, the COVID times. And I was like, well, should we just do it? Like, let's just film a video and just see if we like it, if we still enjoy doing it. And we did, and we haven't stopped since. And we started this channel in 2021. So, I personally like creating content is something that I love doing. Like, I love it so much. So the editing process and everything. So it's just kind of like a natural fit for the two things that I love doing the most.
Well, speaking of love to do most, one question I love to ask married couples is, because one of the problems in my marriage, my wife hates board games, which makes my collection very devastatingly sad because it just sits there unplayed most of the time, which is why solo games, which is a big theme we're going to talk about today, is so important to me. But with that said, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, because you and your husband have a wonderful relationship on your channel. So again, if you don't know Foster the Meeples, check them out. Absolutely fantastic. Side note, their channel, along with a couple others, were actually a few of the reasons why I wanted to do this in the first place.
Oh, wow.
Because I loved the content that her and Jeff did. I loved their enthusiasm, their attitude, their passion. They were just the kind of people you could sit and watch and enjoy. And so to me, it was like, I want to be like that. Like that to me is what this is all about. This medium is about. So it's a little backstory about why I was excited to have Jamie on today.
You're gonna make me
if
cry.
Jeff is there, make sure he says hello too. So, but I wanted to ask, the real question is, what's more important in a game? Is the fulfillment of winning a co-op game with Jeff bring that satisfaction, or is it just demolishing him in a head-to-head competition?
I think you probably already know the answer to that question. If anybody has watched our channel, Jeff and I we play games to have fun always. Like, we don't care about winning or losing. But if somebody's got to win, it's going to be me if it's against him. Like, even we will get so bad that if we're playing in a group of people and I know I can't win, well, I'm like, well, then he's not winning either.
Wow.
So
If that's
we're
not
very
love,
competitive.
That is
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
And we show no mercy. There is no, I'm going easy on you because of whatever. We do our villainous tournament every year. I'm not going to spoil who won this year, but I just think people should watch it because in my personal opinion, it's the best of all of them. But like, we do that because it's Jeff versus Jamie. That's the thing. It's competition. Like, we love a good co-op game, but we like fighting with each other.
well, couples that fight on the table stay together is the
what they say.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably more articulate when somebody else says it, but
Yeah.
I was on the spot, so I had to come up with something clever.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, thanks.
Not bad.
And Jamie, if it's okay with you, we'll go ahead and link those down below as well, so everybody can check those out and see those. So
For sure.
So that kind of leads into, so now you've got Foster the Meeples. It's really taken off in the last couple of years as a YouTube channel. So that kind of leads into the next phase of your life, which is at Ryder Games. So why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about that journey and how that came about?
Sure. It is a wild story, in my opinion. So I've only been with Ryder since October. So really like recent addition to the team. But I come from an HR background. I've been working in the corporate world in tech for years. And I have wanted to leave HR and I had wanted to move into the board game industry. And I've done marketing in the past. And obviously I've had the channels for a while. So obviously I love Final Girl. It's my favorite game. I hate that now when I say it, people are like, oh, you're biased. It's like, no, it's been my favorite game since I played it. Anyways, so I have been doing a ton of content and promotion for Final Girl over the years since it came out. Videos. I did a Final Girl in real life video where I acted as a Final Girl. It is like the cheapest D-rated movie you could ever watch, but it's fun. And I do that all out of the love of the game. And so AJ sent me a message one day and he's like, hey, I just wanted to say, like, we really appreciate everything that you've done. You've never asked us for anything, because I never did. Because as a content creator, you know, you ask for games, you ask for paid videos. I have not asked them for anything, not a free game, not a penny or anything. I just love the game. And so to show their appreciation, they've made me a promo final girl in Series 3. So you can actually now play me as a final girl, which is like, it was like the best thing that's ever happened ever. I was like over the moon. And it just so happened that like the conversation kind of kept going, and AJ mentioned that they've been looking for a marketing person. And I was like, I have experience in marketing. Would you like to see my resume? And he said, sure, send it over. And then I had my interview, and then it all happened so fast. But it was like a perfect fit because I got along really well with the team. You know, everything, like our vision is kind of aligned. And obviously I'm already a huge advocate for the company and for the games. And so it was just like a natural fit. But it was, yeah, I didn't think that it was going to happen. And 3 months ago, if you would have said like, oh, you're going to be a final girl working for Ryder Games, I would have been like, that's funny. But that's exactly what happened.
Well, and a couple things too, Jamie, you have is one, you have documented proof that you were a big fan long before, right? YouTube, right? You got the videos. Two, I feel like part of your contract negotiation should have been that, especially since, was it Paula? Paula has one. So I feel like that would have been like, I want to do this, but hard stop.
Well, they do have like, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't they have like a place you can go online and create your own final girl?
Yes, you do.
You sure can. Yeah.
You sure can. You can create
because you made my daughter a final girl at one of your playthroughs here at the store, because we held an event where he would teach everybody how to play it, and it becomes more of a +1+, which I'm sure you've played it as before with maybe your husband or whatever. And he created my daughter online as a final girl, and we thought that was hilarious here. So
she loved it.
Yes.
The picture I made.
So that's awesome that you're in that. So.
And Shay, I know you had a question as somebody who is new in the hobby, is new in the industry, wants to get further into the industry. I know you want to ask Jamie.
So let me be real. There probably was a question. The question was probably there. But we're wearing Final Girl shirts. Anytime I look at the screen, I see Final Girl. Same thing. So all in my head has been Final Girl, gourmet popcorn, Final Girl.
Gourmet popcorn. Yeah.
I've lost all the
Siege Storm. Let's say them all.
Siege Storm. See, I want to play that again.
Well, I think the question that we had discussed previously, Shay, was that, what are really some pieces of advice, Jamie, you would give somebody who wants to get into this hobby? Because it's so spread out, obviously, where you live compared to where Van Ryder is. I mean, obviously, working remotely is the only reason why some of those things can happen today. But board games is not like a clustered industry like so many others are. So what advice would you give somebody out there, or like Shay, who wants to get further into the industry?
Yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice, and I tell this to people all the time, but like there is such a huge online community. If you find, let's just say you find a YouTube channel that you enjoy, as an example, I'll just use Foster the Meeple because I know obviously the most about it. We have a Discord community with almost 2,000 people in it who are there just to talk about games, to schedule games. They've started making like local meetups. So like people have met through our Discord who are like, hey, we're all in London, and they've had like 3 London meetups or DC meetups or Halifax meetups or whatever. So I think just fully getting yourself into the online community, which eventually will lead to finding people in like real life. And even like so much as people are planning to meet up at PAX Unplugged. When we go to PAX every year, we hold a Discord meetup, and we do it on the first night so that anybody that's going that doesn't know anybody can meet somebody the first day. And then you've got kind of like a solid little group of people that you can go with. So that's one thing. Obviously, checking out your friendly local gaming store. Like we've been since day one. We always say, always check your friendly local gaming store. We have 2, one within like 2-minute drive of us, Lancelot Games, which we absolutely love. And then the Boardroom Game Cafe. both have like communities that you can join. So I think you just have to get into the community however it makes sense and it's the easiest for you to do. And some people that's online, some people that's walking into a store, even so much as just commenting on people's videos. And like, obviously I'm very familiar with like YouTube because I've been doing it, but like we've met so many people that way. And Twitch is another great spot because you can have live conversations with people. So I think you just gotta, get into the community and actually be interested in getting to know people versus, I guess, trying to sell yourself, if that makes sense, especially because I know like if you're in media or you're in design or you're in whatever, you know, we like people to come in and just be themselves and find their people. And there's so many different communities online that you can do that. So.
Yeah, we actually have here at Board Game Cafe, we've got a Discord with over 200 members that are locally here in the Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Galesburg area, even Southwest Michigan, and they use it to get together and building that community, I guess, is way, like I've said this a couple times on the show, is way more fulfilling than building the business.
Yes.
You know, businesses come and go, and it's nice to see. I would have never met Brandon or Shay or probably even Matt if I didn't have the studio here or didn't have the building here and a place to come and play and meet each other. So the community itself, all of us got together because of that community. And I feel you very much with how passionate you are with building communities. And that's very important. I think that's why Brian and AJ and Brian's wife, when I met with them, that we felt a very strong connection of that is where that's why we're doing what we're doing, right? We're not making a ton of money, but we're doing it because we love the community that we're building. And so that's awesome that you're a big supporter in that area.
100%. Like we have always said, if the channel went away tomorrow, fine, whatever. We have 2,000 people in our Discord that we've built this community, and we've always been community first, people first. I don't know if that comes from my HR background, but I've always been like people first, company second, everything else second, because like for some people, that community is all they have. Yes. Right. And so you want to make sure that you're creating a welcoming and inclusive space so if people feel safe and they feel like they found their people. And I think that board games allows for that a lot because like there's so many different people that are part of the community. And I love that. So I'm all in on community first for sure.
And yeah, I resonate with those both places because like when COVID was stopped, I always seen like ads for Voss Media. And that's why I came. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like I literally, if you can't tell, I get excited very easily. And it was before we had all of that. It was just like maybe a couple of shows here and just seeing people play games and play games I didn't know. That really helped me like won't get out of my shell and just love being a part of community. And also I love my TikTok friends. Like I heart them so much and going through board gaming and like I can't wait to see them because some people I don't think I told anybody on TikTok except for the couple people who I know that I'm actually going to PAX. So it's going to be more of a what up? Oh my God. I'm just so excited.
That's awesome.
So yeah, community is like the biggest thing for board games, period.
Jamie, is there, and that's such wonderful advice too, because, for the people out there, like I said, just trying to find that in with whatever industry they're trying to get into, that's sometimes the hardest thing. So what I hear from this is, especially with Foster the Meeples and something we're trying to do here with Champions of Tabletop is, again, what you're doing to build that link between all these people. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So a big kudos to you guys and what you and Jeff are doing over there. So anything else that we need to know about you before we move on to our industry news?
I don't think so.
So we appreciate you being a part of what we normally have segments pulled out and everything. So we appreciate you being a part of the segment and joining us for the rest of the show. I mean, we appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm happy to be here.
So here's the best part, Jamie, is this is where it goes unhinged. This is where
perfect.
You get to be relaxed. And I've seen you in some of those videos. So I know what we can expect from you. So, all right, guys, you ready?
Let's go.
Industry news time. Well, it's almost like it's a layup for Jamie with this first topic.
Yes.
Hey,
That's the whole point, right?
It's almost like this was planned.
A little bit. A little bit. We don't make plans.
I was up late working on this.
Okay.
All right. So Van Ryder has been around for quite a while, but thanks to Final Girl, Van Ryder has obviously risen very promptly with notoriety in the board game world. So as we all know, it's kind of a what have you done for me lately type of world that we live in. So Jamie from Van Ryder Games, almost like this is planned. What do we have to look forward to from Van Ryder coming up?
So many things, but I'm going to focus on just a couple of things. The first one is our newest game that's actually in stores right now is called Garden Guess, which involves no murderers or anything. So it's totally different than Final
Very
Girl.
quiet beetles. That's what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So Garden Guess is it's like a route building, path building game where you work in a team, but it has limited communication. So you are essentially trying to build a path with these beetles who just want peace and quiet in the garden because, you know, that's what you do in the garden. You relax. But don't let the peacefulness fool you because it's a very mean game. Fun and mean because you're trying to block off other people's paths. Like you're trying to cut people off and you're trying to be the first one to complete a path from one side of the board to the other, essentially. And so it's a really cool game that you can play with multiple people. You can play it at 2 players if you want. You don't have to do teamwork. But I always find like limited communication games to be really tricky, especially if you're not on the same wavelength. So that's
you're
one
not,
that
you're
is
not landing the plane in airplane, the new.
No.
Okay. All right.
It's actually a really well done game. I'm a big fan.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
and
blanked on the name of
it's
it.
pretty too.
Garden Guess.
It is.
Garden Guess. Yeah.
I can't wait to play it because one of my wife's and I's favorite game is called Magic Maze. And it has that same mechanic of you have to do this thing together, but this one's more together, but you can't talk. And so,
well, this is only together when you have more than 2 players. So if you have like 4 players, it's like, I think there's a 3-player like difference in there of version, right? Isn't there like a 3-player type of version? Yeah. But it's mainly set up for
there
2
is.
teams. So it's, I don't know if you, I mean, we haven't got our copies in the store yet. It should be here today, but it wasn't, it'll be here tomorrow, but we're actually opening and doing an unboxing on this Thursday. And I'm excited to get that one to the table and show everybody else how I love the art in it. I think it's amazing with the little stones, the pieces that they give you. I think it's a very well done game. I'm sorry, go ahead. We didn't mean to cut your news off. What other, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Listen, you're talking about the game. I'm happy about it. The artwork in that one is really cool because it's all hand cut pieces of paper and like the board was like painted and everything. And then so there was a lot of work that went into the actual art of that game, which is awesome. Then, of course, coming mid-December, we do have our first special feature film for Final Girl, which is Final Girl of the North Pole Nightmare, where Krampus is our villain, who is Santa's evil twin brother, who typically, you know, he takes care of the naughty kids, but he's run out of naughty kids. So now he's after Santa and his elves. And our final girls are Mrs. Claus and Cindy the elf. So you get to choose one of the 2. The location is Santa's village. It's such an interesting set because, as we know, elves are very cheery and talkative and, you know, they're loud and kind of annoying sometimes. So every time you move into a space with an elf, you actually lose time and the elves are your victims. So you have to save the victims, but they're losing you time because they're so loud that they're like giving away your location and they're just wasting your time because they're chatting so much. And Krampus is also going around leaving little presents, and an elf just can't help themselves. When there's a present, they open it and it could be something good or it could be something very bad. So those are kind of some of the special things with the set. And it's a nice holiday, like festive kind of set. And hopefully people are going to be able to have it and play it for Christmas, for the holidays, make an excellent gift for anybody out there. So those are kind of like the 2 I guess, newest hotness ones that are kind of coming out within reach. And then I also just want to give a shout out to our a game that is going to be fulfilling to Kickstarter backers soon in Q1, Q2 of next year, and then coming to retail around April. And that's the Revenant Society, which is an RPG game. And I just wanted to shout it out because it has such a cool system, because essentially you wake up in a waiting room and you're dead and you're like, everybody else here is dead. How did I get here? And you are going through this story of trying to figure out, like, how did I die? Why did I die? And you're putting things together, and it has this whole like loop system. So if you don't figure it out in time, well, guess what? Groundhog Day, you're going back again. But this time you have more information. So you start off not even really knowing who you are. And so you're just trying to figure out who you are, how you died. You're going through the whole story. And it's really, really cool. The artwork is beautiful. So that's something to look forward to in 2024.
And that's an RPG game? A role-playing game? Oh, wow. So
Yep.
it's like a tabletop, just a book and the rules. And
What's the player count of that?
Exactly. The player count, I believe, is 4 to 6 or 4 to 8. I have it right here. It is 3 to 5 players, and it takes around 2 to 4 hours to play.
kind of
Very
cool.
Shit, sounds right up your alley, buddy.
Yeah.
I know Van Ryder is actually known for a lot of their like graphic novel games that they have, which are really fun. I've played a couple of them and they're a blast, but not a whole lot of people they're not very well known in the industry. And that's, you go to the events, that's what's always on their tables, of course. But they're pretty unique. So I would love to see what's coming out new in that.
Captive.
The Captive, that's
the
what it
one
is. Yeah, that's a really good one.
And I haven't beat it yet. I always died, but I do love those books, and I love everything you're saying. I'm not gonna lie, you're speaking to you're preaching to the choir. Like I want Revenant. I already got my money set aside for the Christmas thing. And since, Final Girl, I want to see Jason and not Jason, Hans in Santa's North Pole. I want to
Hans
see
in
that.
the North Pole?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like the elves would not want to see that.
I know, but that's because then the elves would be all chattery. Like I could see combinations. I love it. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Okay.
Any love for Siege Storm? For the 5 of us out there who love it?
Oh, wow. What? These Stormers are very...
You know what? I'm sure that there is love for Siege Storm. It's actually a game that we've owned the 2-player version of Siege Storm, Jeff and I, for forever. I haven't played like the big box version of it, but the 2-player version is really fun. And it's definitely a game that doesn't get talked about a lot. So
No.
if you got love for it.
I do. One of it, yeah. I'm
Nice.
trumpeting it for you, Jamie. I'm trying.
Look, bring it to the shop. I want to play.
It's here.
Literally right over behind your
It's already, it's literally right over. Siege Storm is right over there.
It's January on Wednesdays.
There it is.
It's happening.
It's hard that's why I brought up the books, like the novel things, because they just they sit on a shelf. They don't really move well in retail. So it's one of those that you kind of got to get somebody to play and they go, oh, this is intelligently done. And then once they play it, then they're like, oh, this is a lot of, how do you get, and then they want to get more because it's very choose your own kind of destiny path type of thing. They're really well done. I think I've got 2 of them over there that I bought a while back and just had on the shelf forever that are the like, it's Sherlock Holmes, the kids of Sherlock Holmes or something like that. It's really it's a very well done. I highly recommend it to people, but it's just one of those like, I don't know, the book, it looks like a book but if you could sit down and get somebody to play it, it is pretty well.
And I think that's really an experience thing too, because I know for me, I was never really big into Dungeons and Dragons. I wasn't into Pathfinder. I love Baldur's Gate. I do love the genre a lot, but I think to have a book kind of set in front of you, I feel like there's a lot more sales, I think, that has to go into that type of product.
It is. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, because we tried to do like one time a Pokemon version of D&D, and I was like, okay, all right. But trying to get my son into it. But I will say, I'll give you credit, Jamie, like hearing you talk about that, like that's definitely something that I feel like if somebody pulled out and said, hey, this is what we're going to do tonight, here's the rules, I think that actually sounds really, really fascinating.
I'm down. I was unaware that was coming, so I'll have to keep my eye out on that one.
Yes.
I do have Krampus coming, or the holiday Cheers one where the final girl. I do have that one coming, and then I do have the other garden guests, of course, should be arriving too. So I'm excited about those two. But I was unaware that you guys are doing an RPG. That is amazing.
And when is season 3 coming out?
Series.
So the late series 3, the late pledge is still happening right now, so people can still back it, and then it will of course come out later in 2024.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Have you backed it, Shay?
You should get it from your friendly local game store, which I do have a connection to Van Ryder. I don't know if you know that.
I know, I know you can get everything, and I'm doing self-control, plus I'm broke, so I can't because I seen it. Like, me and AJ talked about our favorite, what horror movie we got into, and he was like, Saw, and I was like, that's the same one I got into, and then now they have a Saw-like story. You understand? I can tell you one of the things that I can say heavy about that I really, really like about Final Girl. I'm not a solo player, but it's something I really love. I love their art. I think the art is amazing. Mm-hmm. I love their the box, the whole series box like thing. I love their packaging. I love the way that you buy the game and then you can buy separate based on whatever, or you can buy the entire series, that it looks like a VCR sitting on your shelf. Like, I love their presence and how it looks in the as a solo game. I thought it would be harder to move than it is, because actually we sell a ton of Final Girl stuff. And a lot of that is because Shay's here teaching games all the time. And he's like, have you played? And then so a lot of that is Shay's backing that, pushing that boat along. But I'm a big fan of what they're doing. To me, it's not my kind of game. Like, I prefer Hostage Negotiator over Final Girl. But it's just my personal preference, and it has nothing to do with either. I'm just not a horror kind of person. But I love how they utilize, like, they use the inspiration of like a Freddy and create that, or use an inspiration of some of those other horror films and make it what it is. So I'm a big fan.
So we'll move on to the second topic of news. This industry news. And obviously we all know, as Jamie referenced this earlier, thanks for the reminders, Jamie, 2020 happened. That was a thing that we all went through. And obviously, it kind of changed our habits quite a bit, and we saw a huge explosion in the board game space. But one of the areas that we did see a big explosion also in was solo games. Obviously, Van Ryder knows very well, as Final Girl really took off during that time, as everybody was in isolation, lockdown, and even coming out of the pandemic. Obviously, people feeling more comfortable being at home, playing by themselves. We saw a massive spike. In fact, one player guild on Board Game Geek saw their membership quintuple pre-pandemic as people just really got into the hobby. So I thought it'd be a great question to talk about within the board game space. How important are solo games to make for a manufacturer? And when you're making a new game, how important is it for the thought of sales to make sure that there is a rule set of one-player games? Because there's a lot of games that come out where you look at it and you think, this is a one-player game, but there's always that subset of new rules for that single player. So, Jamie, we'll let you start that question.
Yeah, I think it's obviously really important for publishers and designers to think about that. I think about it kind of coming at it from like a player's perspective, and I want to make sure that it's not just, well, we have to do a solo mode for this game. Like, I want it to make sense. I want the mechanics to make sense, the theme to make sense for the solo, because I do feel like it is one of those things now that everyone does think, well, like, we need to include a solo mode. But as somebody who plays a lot of solo games, sometimes I'm like, maybe you shouldn't have done it, because you might like get somebody's, well, you could get somebody's hopes up. You think, oh, this is going to be a great game. I could play it alone, but it's not really meant to be played alone, and it's not really, you know what I mean? But I do think that so long as people are thinking about the solo player's experience, I think it's really important, because I know that even after the pandemic and COVID, like, that's what got me into solo gaming. And now it is something that I actively look for. And I think a lot of people are actively looking for ways that they can play games solo. So yeah, I think people should be thinking about it. And I think that they should be thinking about it with care, I guess, is what I'll say.
Well, do you feel like from a publisher side, from from Van Ryder Games perspective, when they're creating a new IP, is that a big part of the topic of conversation that you guys have of, should we include this? Does it have to be a part of it?
So I obviously haven't been with the company for very long, just a little bit over a month. And so I haven't been part of that design
Kind of an unfair
process.
question to ask her.
Yeah.
But what I would say is that it is probably something that they're considering. But I also think that in order for a publisher to be diverse in the types of games that they do, you can't pigeonhole yourself into that.
Yes.
As an example, like Garden Guest doesn't have a solo mode.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? Block yourself off from the path?
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense. So I think it's obviously always going to be a consideration. And Van Ryder Games does solo games really, really well. Really, 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 really well. And so I'm sure that it's something that's taken into consideration when developing a game specifically internally, because a lot of our games are designed by the employees of Van Ryder Games, and some of them are designed by outside designers. So it could be that if it's something that's designed internally, it's probably more of a thought than like, hey, does this game from this designer work for us? Do we think that our community would like this? So I don't necessarily think that it's like a make or break kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know it completely changed COVID completely changed the industry. I mean, games were important before then, obviously, board gaming, but definitely the need for solo mode. I haven't seen as many games ever in the history of even collecting them before I owned a store as just a board game player / collector. Now it's almost like 1 to 4, 1 to 6, or it's always 1 to something. And like you said, even though it probably shouldn't have one, a lot of times it might be like a bot that you just flip a card over and it does this action for like a worker placement or something, which doesn't still give you that awesome feel of playing against someone because it might not line up with it. But I mean, because there's so many, Arc Nova, there's so many of them that just come out that are great games. And then they have a good, decent solo mode with them. And still give you the enjoyment of kind of playing, but by yourself. And I don't, because again, I'm not a solo player, so I'm not into, like, I would prefer to pick up a controller over picking up a board game to play solo. But it completely has changed the industry, right? I mean, we'd all have to agree with that.
And I also think one thing I love about solo, when it's done right, that there's a lot of solo games, and we talked about earlier, that could be played like solo plus.
Yeah.
Like, I love a good solo game, obviously, but I remember a game we played Under Falling Skies, and we talked about this before.
Yeah.
It was fun when we both tried to play it. It was a solo game. And so I think that's the secret sauce of a good solo. It's so engaging that you could have people play and it still have that same engagement.
Well, and I think the solo mode really shines with it. Like, I have customers that come in that will, 3 of them are all coming in to play Final Girl. 3 people playing one game. It's a solo game, but they're all rolling, they're rolling dice, and they're like, oh, I'm going to move this. And that's exciting to see, because then like you said, it becomes a solo plus game, I think.
Yes.
And I can enjoy something like that because that creates there's like reasons for gaming. And that's one of my reasons for gaming is the sociability, and that creates that with that game. So,
and I guess I just come at it from a different angle, because having a couple young kids, it's hard for me to meet up with people in the evening. I own a business, so that takes a lot of time during the day. So when I get home, I want to be active with them. Yeah. And like I said, we're still working on their passion of board games. That's still a work in progress. That's in Kickstarter still. We're still trying to raise funds for that.
It's not fully funded yet.
But my Kickstarter, my wife has definitely failed. We pulled that one off. We got no funding on that one. But so for somebody like me, to have a board game table at home and have it set up and be able to play some of these games that are coming out, like, I won't say the one that I always say, but games like Gloomhaven that have 1,000+ hours, Frosthaven have 1,000+ hours of solo content that you can have, or 11 that I was just playing recently that I absolutely love. To be able to sit there and build a team and try to, grow through, I'm calling it the English Premier League. I know it's not, but that's what I call it. And to be able to have that experience, to me, is so critical, because that's more likely to ever come out than a great Death by the Clock Tower or any of these like 4+ type of games. It's never going to usually hit the table for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what you mentioned in the beginning about design groups sitting around and thinking it, I almost think you have to have that internal conversation of can we create an autonomous or a solo mode when what we have. Mm-hmm. But I also agree with Jamie that the question needs to be asked, does it need, I mean, does it make the game better? If it doesn't, then don't bother because you're creating a false expectation. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I think that those conversations, I think, right? Because that's what they do.
Oh yeah, low key.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that conversation probably happens more than we give it credit or not credit for. So
absolutely,
cool. That's a good topic.
Absolutely. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next segment. This is a new segment. I don't know how this is going to go.
Uh-oh.
I'm shooting for the moon. With this, Jamie and Shay, you guys are up.
Yeah.
So for those of you, if you've ever played the game Think and Sync, it's a card game. It's an easy party game for anybody to pick up. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each of you a simple question. And this is going to be the final girl edition. Mm-hmm. And you each are going to get a couple seconds to give me your answer at the same time. So I'm going to count down from 5 to 0, maybe 4, so we can speed this up a little bit. And when I get to 0, I want you both to say your answer. And what we want to see is, do Jamie and Shay think alike?
So can we get this preference out?
Okay.
So in real life, I'm bad with names. So I'm just going to put that out there. Like
falling on the sword already.
Falling on the sword already. Like I will. Let's just go. Let's go.
Can you at least describe?
We'll figure it out.
I can just definitely describe. I know exactly.
So it's a game designed just for these two. Gotcha.
Dion, do you want to be a part of this?
No, I do not. I don't want anything to do with this.
That's an absolute courtesy invite, knowing full well he was not going to accept.
I did not. Love Van Ryder. Hate this game. Go.
You didn't hear that, Jamie. We'll just beat that out. Don't worry, right in the background, he's got the beat button. So,
okay, there we go.
All right, question number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Best final girl. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Adeline.
Jamie.
Jamie was I was gonna go Jamie.
There's lag. There's gonna be lag.
Yeah. No. That was our best final girl. Was Jamie?
Best final girl, Jamie.
Then you. Neither one
I didn't pick myself.
She didn't even pick herself.
Oh my.
No, she picked somebody else.
Shay.
No,
you are about to be fired.
But she has that trash can baseball bat. You must be out your mind.
Who was it?
Adeline. She's from Adeline. See, I told you I was close.
Slaughter at the Groves.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, that's one where I felt like everybody that died should have died for what they did.
Oh, I don't. But, we can talk about that.
Jamie,
what was yours, Jamie? I'm sorry.
I said Lori because she's the classic.
She's the final girl, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that's
I was named after Jamie Lee Curtis. I just want to throw that out there. I was literally named after a final girl.
Nice.
Look at how this all comes back together for you, huh?
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Nicely.
The string theory brings you right to
It's a
it.
circle.
Okay, but we got the next one though.
All right, number 2. Best villain. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Geppetto.
Dr. Fright.
That's my second one. That's usually my first one. That's Geppetto. Dr. Fright is literally nightmare. I won that and I say Dr. Fright. That's literally.
Yeah.
This is a great game.
No, literally, that is my favorite game. This is my new favorite game. Oh my! Why did I say Geppetto? I don't even play Geppetto that much.
The obvious answer was Hans, so you both were wrong there.
No, Hans is so. Never mind. I'm not gonna go there. Hans is a great starter. Like when you get into the game, you play with Hans, and you can play Hans with good. Like when you play Hans in space, it feels like, but like. Dr.
I do
Fright
like
is
Geppetto.
amazing.
I like how he pulls you
I like
back.
Geppetto and I like
the
it was Dr. Fright. I don't know why I said Geppetto. Oh my God. Anyway.
So we're not in sync so far. I really like this game to watch you melt. I love it. This is the best. We're just going to have Jamie come back just so we can get you to melt down. I love it.
Brandon, I don't know if you could do this. Can you do a word to answer count for each of them? Jamie's like 1 per answer. Shay is 3,624.
100% I'll put that in post.
Please do. Average words to answer a question.
Okay. Here we go. This one's it.
Are you ready? Okay. Are you sure?
No.
Give it to
All right. Number 3. Best map. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Maple Lane.
Creech Manor.
We just talked about Dr.
I think Wingard Cottage is the right answer.
Yeah.
Jamie, you said it earlier. I think.
I mean, that's a good one too. But I love, like, I literally love Dr. Fright and Lane, have all those different people come out, and then you have to like save the boyfriend, and it's anyway. Yes.
You have to save the boyfriend.
That was 56-4, by the way. 56 words for Shay.
No, I actually said
4
only
for
one
Jamie.
place. What other place I
No,
say?
it's the follow-up.
Oh, it's all the talking
It was
afterwards.
the 24 paragraphs after the answer.
Oh, okay, so I don't do the
count.
paragraph.
This is so
Okay,
good.
this is good. Whatever.
All right.
Here you go.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Season 1 or season 2? What's better?
It's their series. So.
Why do I keep saying season?
I don't know, but
This is a season of movie.
It's
Whatever.
series.
You guys know what I'm talking about. Series 1, series 2.
Mhm.
All right. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Series 1.
Series 1.
Let's go.
Yeah.
There it is.
Sit back down. You didn't lose your camera.
Let go.
I'm proud of you.
Even though season 2 is really nice, and like the Big Bad Wolf is so underrated because it's so simple. Anyway, season 1.
Just add those
I agree.
numbers, Brandon. Add those numbers. All right. Just a couple more here. I like this one.
Uh-oh.
Do you play Final Girl with meeples or miniatures?
Mhm.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Miniatures.
Meeples.
Oh,
It is
Because-
she's fostering.
I mean that's legit.
I stream it. Well, I also stream it. People can't see the miniatures, so I rarely play with the miniatures.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
thought
That
this
makes
Yeah.
foster them with your big heart. You just
Yes.
took them all in.
Oh,
kept them
that
safe.
makes. It's like it literally is one of the only games I actually get meeples. I get miniatures for. Like I go cut.
I
I go
have all of
in,
them.
and I
Yeah.
paint them. It's definitely miniatures. And I understand meeples, so we were close on that.
Okay.
Like if I had the choice, I'd always play with the miniatures, but because of how I typically play, I have to use the meeples, or otherwise people can't see what I'm doing. But
That's
I have all the miniatures. I have like the series 2 alternate sculpts or the series 1 alternate sculpts, and yeah, I got everything.
I feel like you should have everything, right? Like that's part of a perk.
Yeah, but I had everything before I started at the company, though.
All right. 2 more left.
Okay.
Hardest villain. 4, 3, 2, 1.
The
Organism.
Inkenyamba.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
He is my arch nemesis, and I can't beat him no matter how hard I try.
No, that's legit, especially if you do the divine strike and it matters what mode you do it. I said organism because I have not beat them. They're so that's so difficult. It's so hard. Like, no, because there's 3, like you have 3 different people who could be different. What?
I feel like Geppetto, right?
Geppetto's not that bad. Geppetto's not, I mean,
Nah.
Geppetto is annoying, but he's not bad. But I get it. Incanop, yes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last one.
Mm-hmm.
Best expansion. 4, 3, 2, 1.
The one in space.
Once upon a full moon. The one in space.
Oh, that is the one in space.
I told you I'm not bad
Xeno,
at
what is it, like
names.
Xeno?
No, it's a xenomorph.
Xenomorph,
It's a
oh.
xenomorph.
Into
but I
the
can't
void.
think-
It's
Into the void.
See,
Into the void.
but
See?
Xenomorph is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I just order them. I have no clue.
like the fact that the alien, the xenomorph, went from like baby to adult like that is scary. And so I love that. I love the whole mechanic. I love the fact that you could go like in the vents and it comes and he'll just pop up. So yeah, that's why I said what I said.
Okay.
It's so good.
So we weren't in sync. So I think we'd have to say bye to that segment.
Oh,
Hey, there we
well
go. No,
played.
that was beautiful.
That was a
read right
great
into it.
joke
You guys
for the
let me hang.
90s.
I wish I was at a better place.
It's the only reason I went to the Trolls. Was
What'd you do?
sync.
I said better place is their new song.
Oh,
I wish I was in a better place. That's what the joke was. If you have to explain it, you're not a fan.
Well, I'm not a huge fan. I'm sorry. I'm old in sync. I'm not new. I don't know.
With all those horrible puns, it's time to go to our favorite segment here. Jamie, I hope you signed some life insurance because it is time to go to the pit.
Ooh.
Oh no!
Ouch.
There's a pit.
The pit is.
I thought that was going to be the replacement of the pit.
No.
Oh, God.
So
Okay,
today's conversation is a feisty one, gentlemen. And Jamie, of course, we've got Dyerwood Games. For those of you who know, Dune Imperium, they just launched with a very intuitive online version through Steam. So this obviously allows for solo gaming against AI, which we've been talking a lot about today as well. So many other games like Root have also introduced wonderful video game versions of their board games. So the question is, does this expose people to the board games to drive sales positive? Or does this cause a drop in sales because people have the digital versions and don't feel the need for the board game? Who wants to go first? I know Dion wants to go first.
I am waiting patiently. I do not want to be the
guinea pig.
odd man out here.
Shay, you want to go first?
I can go first. I think it's driving the sales of regular board games up. Let me explain it in multiple ways that this has shown. In an interview, Prince didn't want to do his music for any rock band or guitar hero because he felt like he wanted real people to play the instruments. But then studies showed that people played more instruments because of those games. And so how I feel is if the is going to go up because, for instance, even though this is digitally made, but it's not like exactly like how it is. Heat, right? I play Heat online solo through the digital all the time. One, is easy to set up. Two, I can get as many games I want to get in. And three, I don't have to worry about people flaking on me and not playing with me. So I can do that in. So that is a thing. Also, there's another game called Nemesis. Nemesis has Nemesis and Nemesis Lockdown as PC games. And I know I can get my friends to play that more, then maybe they'll get interested in playing the game. And so I think though it can, and I can see why some people may think it can like push sales because you're like breaking up streams, but you're actually getting into a stream that you wasn't going to get in the first place because not a lot of people who play video games are going to play board games.
Jamie, what do you think here?
I think it's tough. I think that, like, I know myself as a gamer, there are some games, I play a lot of board games, physical and digital. And there are often some times that I will play a game digitally where I will think, I don't need to buy a physical copy of this game. Welcome to is a great example of that. Like, I love that game. I'll never need to buy a physical copy of it because it's just so easy online. But I think it's a little bit different for a bigger game like Root or like Dune Imperium or whatever. If you have that experience online, those are the types of games that me as a consumer, I'm more likely to be like, I got to own this. I got to put this in my collection. But I think it can be really 50-50 because there are so many people that would just play online and not actually buy a physical copy of the game. I think it's game dependent. I definitely think that depending on the game, it can either really hurt sales or it can really help sales. Because you're opening up to a whole new, like, you are potentially opening up to a whole new type of gamer. Because I know a ton of people who only know Wingspan through the digital implementation. Oh, I've played that video game. No. No. But you have to hold yourself back to be like, oh, actually, like, that's a board game. And so I think you can open yourself up to a totally new market, which could definitely increase in sales. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bit of a tricky one. I think it's game dependent.
You can tell she's new here.
Oh,
Shay, did you see that?
I know what you're gonna say.
Did she not remind you of Dion about sleeves?
Okay, look. Okay, we're gonna have a little conversation right now. He gets mad because he'll ask these questions that really is like what you said, game dependent, but he makes us pick a side.
Gotta take a side.
And so I knew he was gonna say something. I was hoping he see that we have company and we're not trying to embarrass company
in the house.
My mom raised me with whoever's in the house is
family. No, just go right
I
out.
mean, that's fair.
So she's getting it today.
I guess you gotta pick a side. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna
Fine.
somewhat go ahead.
Here we go.
I was going to say,
Started. All right.
I'm happy to pick a side, but like I need to pick a side as Jamie the board gamer,
Please
and
do.
not Jamie from Van Ryder Games,
Legit.
because
So legit.
I obviously don't know how the company would answer that question. But for me, digital implementations of games allow me to play games with my friends my best friends live in Kentucky. They live in California. They live in whatever. I can see them maybe once or twice a year. So for me, if I can play a digital implementation of a game, I'm 100% all in on that.
Jamie, congratulations. You got the answer correct. I am so proud of you because that is blatantly, because I already know where you're going to go with this. And I'm going to tell you, you don't have to because you're wrong. Because at the end of the day, all exposure is good exposure, especially in this space where there's so many. I mean, Jamie's talking about having 18,000 games. Poor Jeff is living outside because he doesn't have a bed to sleep in because they got
He
new
doesn't need
expansion. So we have one of these positions where you have to get exposure, however you can get it. And at the end of the day, if you have a wonderful experience, so Direwolf puts out Dune Imperium, you have a wonderful experience playing with somebody. They say this is a board game. Your first instinct is, I want to own this. I want to have a piece of it. Because at the end of the day, the fact is there's nothing that competes with the tactile input that you get. Moving pieces, feeling the dice in your hand, feeling the chips. That's why I love deluxification. I like the thicker chips. I like the stronger pieces. That input that you get will never be able to have competition with video games. So to me, the video game allows exposure. It allows plays like Root, right? That's, if I'm not mistaken, that's a big one. Jeff plays, right?
Huge. Yeah.
And the reality is he wouldn't get half the games if it wasn't so easy to pick up and play. But does he have every expansion?
Every single one.
And how many people bought the game because they played it with him?
Oh, probably a lot. Yeah.
Facts.
Because they played with him on digital.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some.
Right?
Yeah.
yeah. So this is where I stand. Okay. As a tool, I think it's amazing, right? For me to hurry up and learn a game, I think it's cool that I can download something very fast, go through one of the tutorials that they've put in there, and I could learn the game pretty quick to be able to get it to my table, right? So I think it's good for that. But I'm also come from the video game industry, right? So that's where I sharpen my teeth at, right? So in the video game industry, if I'm going to sit down and turn on my Steam or turn on whatever, there are a billion plus games that are going to give me more excitement than playing a board game. The reason why I board game is different than why you guys board game, right? You like solo games, you like whatever. I board game to get that interaction, social ability with my friends at the table, that co-op that my old generation has lost. We play Call of Duty now, but you're sitting at your house and I'm sitting at mine, and we're not across from each other laughing and, you know, slapping each other out with our elbows.
Days.
No, yeah. The Halo, the old school
LAN
co-op
parties and
the board games give that to me. So that is my feed of what that brings to me. It's a social game. If you take out the ability to sit across from you and say, how was work last week? Oh, that was great. And see and read the reaction, not just have it come over my headset, is more important to me, the touching of the pieces and the rolling of the dice. And we all go, oh, because we see it all at the same time. And you can still get that online. I understand that, but you miss an element when you're not with them. And so that's what board gaming does for me personally. That's my personal reason for board gaming. And so for me, it is a no. I think that.
So you think it hurts sales?
I think it would. I think it does hurt sales. If I own it digitally, I don't buy a game on Steam, then buy it on Xbox, then buy it on a PlayStation. Right. And I own all three. I don't. I buy one somewhere where it's going to do it right, and I play it. And when I'm done with it, I'm done with it.
You have bought Mario 75 times like the rest of us.
I have not bought Mario at all.
when has Mario ever been
on
Xbox,
any PlayStation or
PlayStation?
Yeah. Well, my kids do own one. But anyway, I just don't buy games on multiple areas. Right. Like if I have, there's been a few like Crusaders King has caught me on both parties or whatever. But I've tried a couple board games. In fact, one of the first board games that I bought to purchase on Steam was the game that you played with your brother That's why I laughed when you said that that's the first game. The Game of Thrones game was like one of the first ones on a Steam account that I was like, oh, this is unique. I'm happy about this. And it's good when I play with my best friend in Kentucky who also likes board games that we can get together and play it, right? Because that's the only way we can get together. And if we're going to get together and I still want to give him that feeling of sitting around the table with me that we missed years ago that he moved away, I'm good with that. But it is just, it's like, for me, it's two separate mediums that need to just stay separate.
But I think also what you're missing too is, because we talked a little bit about this with like the shop. There is, and Jamie, you know, you being an avid reader, we joked about the instruction manuals of so many of these games. The reality is there's a lot of intimidation learning new games.
I agree.
Especially in today's world.
Oof.
And to digitize that experience where you have artificial intelligence walking you through where to move pieces, how to experience it. So, you know, Small World is a great example for me. Blood Rage, blanking on the other one. Those are three games that I had a small experience with playing the online versions. And because I could see where it was going, I went and bought the physical copy.
And that's amazing that you are, and it probably will. Some people are like that. But the reason why, again, I play board games for the first reason that I give. Another reason is that I want to escape from all of that. I don't want to sit in front of a computer screen. I don't want to sit with a controller in my hand. I don't want to worry about my bills. I don't want to worry about what's going on in this wonderful world that we live in. You know, with news hitting you every other day, I want to escape it all. And that's why the atmosphere that I built here at Voss Media is when you walk in the door, it doesn't matter your religion, race, creed, whatever it is that you walk in the door, all of that drops. We're just here to play board games and enjoy each other's company. And it doesn't, I'm going to show you some of my favorite board games and hopefully you'll show me some of yours and we'll just sit here and have a blast, right? Just enjoying each other's company and doing that and escaping from the digital phone. The phone is literally connected. I have it right down here, connected at my hip 90% of the time during the day, right? The only way I get away from it, other than dropping my earpiece, is when I get to play board games, right? I get to escape all of that. So for me to put it on a screen removes me as a gamer. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I know a lot of people that come here feel the same. But that's just for me personally. I mean, it was my opinion. You can't tell me my opinion's wrong, right, Brandon?
You're right. No. You listen to me. You are right. Your opinion matters, and that's your opinion. You know him.
Yeah, he's wrong. His whole everything.
Go ahead, say what you're gonna say.
No, I love the passion you have. I love the thoughtful nature you put into that. And I'm rubbing your shoulder because I want it to comfort you.
You're totally freaking me out right now.
The Jamie was correct. Obviously, the right answer here is board games and video games.
I think you'll put it as a poll and let's find out.
Let's put it as a poll. All right. So Brandon,
you and Jamie can come back and fall on her sword next week when you guys all are wrong.
For us, viewers, take a second, vote down below. Make sure that you tell us: do video game, board game iterations help or hurt sales? We'll let you decide, and then we'll find out. Remember, Jamie's our guest. Let's be kind to her. She's made her opinion made. Let's support that. I'm not trying to sway. So with that, let's move on to the next segment here. Congratulations, Jamie. 1-0. I'm proud of you. Game of the week. So this is our chance to highlight a game that we've been playing this week that we're really excited about. Of course, guests go first. Jamie, why don't you? Now, Jamie's going to do two. She's going to do one for Jamie of Van Ryder, and then she's going to do one of Jamie of Foster the Meeples.
Cool. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Too. Well, I've already talked about one of them a lot, and that is North Pole Nightmare. So the new Final Girl set that's coming out. I've been playing it a ton. I'm, just helping me get into the festive spirit, killing elves. It's great.
Killing elves.
So... But yeah, so I've already talked about it a lot, so I won't go too much into it, but I do have like a full playthrough coming out on the Van Ryder Games YouTube channel that people are going to be able to watch to kind of experience it with me. But yeah, I've been playing a ton of that. And then for just my own personal, obviously we play a ton of games, but we've been playing so much Undaunted lately. Specifically Undaunted Normandy, and then now we just have started our Undaunted Stalingrad campaign, which is the campaign version of Undaunted, which for anybody that doesn't know, Undaunted is essentially like a war game that has card management, hand management. And one team plays as one side and one plays as the other. And in Stalingrad, one team is playing as Germany, one is playing as the Soviet, and you're playing all of the scenarios in the city of Stalingrad. And you're playing out actual events that happened in history during the war. And obviously, like in the war, there was a winning side and a losing side. But in the game, it's one side will have a little bit of favor to them because that's how it happened in history, and the other won't. But it doesn't determine who wins. And we've just been we love the Undaunted system. We've played now Battle of Britain, Normandy. We haven't played North Africa yet. We need to get that one. But yeah, it's just a game that we really enjoy. And there's so many scenarios, and it's so like the rule set is easy, but the strategy is not. So I love games that are easy to learn, hard to master, and I would put Undaunted kind of in that category. But that's what I've been playing a heck of a lot lately.
And Stalingrad is great too, because I love the campaign nature of it. Of you lose a soldier, they're gone. You know, that's battle. You know, but I will say, Jamie.
Well,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, to add to that with the campaign version, like you lose a soldier, they come back wounded, and then their card doesn't have as good of skills. And then you can, in this one, upgrade some of your soldiers. And it's like, now they have even better skills. So it's just kind of like, it's a bit of a roller coaster, I tell you.
Is there a game that needs miniatures more than Undaunted?
I'm glad it doesn't. Honestly, I'm not a big miniatures person. Like Jeff is all in on miniatures. But I like the simplicity of that. It's just cardboard tokens. Okay. It's just nice. There's not a ton of setup. You're like, okay, well, I'm just moving this little cardboard disc around. So
I was trying to find like the dollar store green soldiers.
Legit.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Legit. I just want to say that we're twinning again because I also, well, except for girl, I will also love like I can just deal with the meeple or deal with the little thing. I don't need a deluxification. Sometimes I just I like just how it is. And so we're so much twinning. I need you on the show more.
Twinning.
I just need
so much twinning.
I need somebody to understand me.
Well, here's another way I'm not going to understand you is knowing you as well as we do now, Shay. What's your game of the week? Because this one shocked me.
And
Shay normally is not a big heavyweight gamer. Okay, he likes lighter games.
But Shay also picks games that he's played recently that he highlights for his game of the week. So I mean, you got to give him credit. He has played this pretty recently. A lot of people just pop games off, and he's got it. So,
yeah. So I'm going to say the name wrong. Hopefully, I don't. It's called Hegemony. Thank you. Lead your class to victory. And we talked about in a podcast before, I don't do 4-hour games. Like I don't have the attention span. I'm very squirrely. No. But I know, right? By the way, that reminds me, you can sleep if you buy a whole bunch of boop and put them down, that can be your bed.
Okay.
So that's where Jeff can sleep. There's on a whole bunch of boops on top. Anyway, so
they got tons of shelf space, I hear, at the heuse. So he's got tons of places to sleep.
But anyway, this game like shocked me how much I loved it. And it shocked me and then it didn't. Because for me to play a longer game like that, it has to have a theme. And the theme has to hit the mechanics right. And so you have to do something. If you're just going to do a worker placement, I'm just not going to like it. But with this game, like it's asymmetric. Everybody's a different class. And I'm talking about like the working class or capitalist or the middle class, or even if you got 4 people, the state, and they all have different ways of getting victory points, and it all makes sense within what they are.
Yeah.
And so I read a little bit about it, about the designer, and the designer has like multiple degrees in international
business. Economics.
Yeah.
Economics.
And so I felt that. And so when I even looked online, I was like, oh, it's going to be a long game, but I'm going to try it because I've been trying to try longer games. It is so good. I've been thinking about it since yesterday when we played it. I want that game.
I've seen it played 3 times now, and I can protest. What I like about it is when you make a move or make something, you can't go too hard on that because it affects everybody at the table. And if you go, then you're giving somebody a push up that you shouldn't be giving, so you've got to be careful on how you play the balance game of your class, which I really enjoyed. I think the designer did a great job with that. So
it was, I'm going to just put their names on the screen because I'm not even going to attempt to say their names. I can do it. Don't worry. But
the designers of it,
but they did. It was a newcomer and the person who always do games like this. And wow.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Zion, yours.
Mine is actually, believe it or not, a Van Ryder game. We're unboxing it this Thursday. It is Garden Guests. I really enjoyed the fact that you could play 2v2 on it, which was kind of neat. But even at 1v1, it played very well. And the art is really neat. Where you lay down the cards and how you match up the what do they call it? The beetles you put out, but you put colonies of beetles out into the individual. Yeah, the pedestals. Yeah, I really liked how that mechanism worked, where you're trying to make sure someone doesn't have too much control, and then creating that path that now you cannot cross. And you're working back and forth and saying, okay, you're going over there, so I got to hurry up and get over there before you get over there. And then how do I stop you from getting that? It's a pretty neat little back and forth game. There does come a point in the game where you go, yeah, I'm done. I'm not winning this game. The 2 times I played, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to pull this off. But it is a lot of fun. And I think that's my game of the week this week. Not just because Van Ryder's with us, but also because Van Ryder, we are opening all of their games on Thursdays this month. And we did Saloon Tycoon, which was huge for us with our giveaway last week. Mm-hmm. So Friday Night Smackdown. So the week before, last week was, wow, flying by. The month is flying by.
It's gonna be 2024 soon. Mm-hmm. My game of the week is Pit. Of course, as somebody in the financial sector, I'm always going to be drawn to these type of games. But I will say this, that there is nothing better to bring a family together than trading commodities. And doing it in such an aggressive way, screaming at each other, just feels like home. So Pit is a very simple card game. Effectively, depending on the player count, you're going to have a certain number of commodities in your hand. What you will do is you will trade commodities with other players with the sole goal of having a monopoly of all of the one commodity, things like oranges, coffee beans, etc. If you have all of them in your hand, you hit the bell, you win. Very, very simple. My nephew, best story I ever had with this game, he was 6 at the time, begging everybody for coffee. He wasn't getting it. No free W's in this house. So it really, it's a stabber. It gets people.
Wait,
the game came out when you were born, right?
1903.
Oh, that was like
it celebrated its 120th birthday this year.
That is crazy.
Your favorite part of that game was denying a 6-year-old?
Yes.
Well, he's 18 now. This was a long time ago.
No, but the memory. But the memory.
I was different back then.
I was a different person.
Oh, you're different back then.
I just wanted to make sure back then. I was a different person.
But I would do it to my daughter. No, you got to learn to win.
I mean, that's legit.
It's horrible.
Different parents' house.
Phenomenal game. So if you haven't had a chance, it's only been around for 120 years. Give it a.
You haven't played it yet? Come on.
Is it right there? Because I keep looking at it.
Yeah, it is.
That game.
It is. Yeah, we got it there.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to move on to our last segment of the show tonight. It's our feet to the fire.
Heyo.
So for Jamie and those of you new out there, this segment is I'm going to give a topic this week, and I want rapid answers. I don't want you to think about it. I don't want you to dwell on it. I just want right off the top of your dome. So,
kind of like our top 5.
Week's question is: we're heading towards Christmas. It's time for families to get together, enjoy community. Your family's going to judge you based on which game you pull out. You get one game to play for Christmas to make everybody happy. What's your one game, Jamie? Hooky.
I've never even heard of Hooky. What is Hooky?
What? It's so good.
I've never heard this
It's
game.
relatively new. It's really good. Do you want me to explain it or no? I don't know.
guess so. No,
you got to.
Because we're lost. We want to know now.
It's like, do I need to pull bggup.com?
Yeah.
Just really quickly, it's from Rio Grande, and it is basically it's a deduction game where you're trying to figure out which 3 kids of the 26 kids in the class are playing hooky. Each kid is a letter of the alphabet. Everybody around the table has a hand of letters, so you're trying to deduce which letters everybody else has. There's also a playground with kids that are going to get revealed until you go over a certain number of rounds, and you're basically asking people. So like, as an example, I might ask you a 5-letter word. So I might say funny. And then you have to tell me how many letters of that word do you hold in your hand. And that's how you start to deduce what people have. And you're trying to find the 3 hooky kids. And I love this game. I love it. It's so
Never even heard of it
much
before.
fun.
You were introducing
It's a
me
brain
to-
melter.
We can get
Dion,
we can
go.
get Rio Grande.
Dion, go.
Oh, you totally
Go.
called me out.
Go.
Man, I would normally reach for 7 Wonders Architects if I had to just reach for one and pull it out and pop it out of the table because it's one that I think everybody can play. But that was also an easy one because it was my number 1 family game. So I don't think
Shay.
that's
Monopoly deal.
Nice. Answer, Jamie.
Great game.
I was really hoping you'd say this one. Crokinole. Crokinole.
yeah, you can't.
It's too large to take around. People have to come over to my house to play.
Put a backpack on there and carry it around with you. All right. Well, with that,
Is that Captain America's shield? No, it's my Crocodile Lord.
Crocodile Lord.
It's my Captain Canada shield.
It's my Captain
There-
Canada
Captain
shield.
Canada.
There you go. That's a really good
Is it
one.
really?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Is it a real character?
Is it
Is it a real character, Jamie?
Wait, no,
It's
not.
actually Captain Canuck. Captain Canuck.
Is
Captain
it?
Canuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
great.
Captain Canuck.
Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. So we here at Champions of Tabletop cannot thank you, Jamie, enough for taking time out of your day to be here with us and share so much with us. So just as a reminder, definitely check out her channel, Foster the Meeples, with her husband, Jeff, and also check out Ryder Games. Jamie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate that. I very much appreciate this. Like I feel so alone sometimes, and I just need I need a twin. Like I just need that twin.
I know, right?
Oh my god,
So ridiculous. I can't even imagine the struggle.
They get mad when I talk about Final Girl. Even the champions mad when I talk about Final Girl, but they don't understand that I love this game.
All right. So with that, we also want to thank our partners at Van Ryder for doing this with Voss Media Board Game Cafe here in Galesburg, Michigan. So with that, we want to wrap up with Champions Never Stop Playing. Have